Okay, so in this video I'm going to look at graphing functions, and in particular I'm going to look at graphing two functions. One is going to be linear and the other is going to be a quadratic function. Now, the linear function that I'm going to draw is this one here. I've called it g of x, and it's the function 4x minus 5. So every input is going to be multiplied by 4, and then we're going to subtract 5 from it. And I'm going to plot this in the domain minus 4 to 2. So my x values are going to be from minus 4 up to 2. And all the x values are real numbers. So now in order to draw, I know this is a linear function because my gx, or y if you like, is equal to mx plus c. This function here is in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So I know that this is going to be a linear function or a straight line graph when I draw it. So let's have a look at actually drawing this. Now I'm using, in order to draw a straight line, really you only need 2 points. But I would do more than 2 points. I would do 3 at least, just to be sure that you're doing the calculations properly. So I'm picking 3 points. I'm picking the smallest one, which is minus 4, the largest one, which is 2, and one somewhere in the middle, 0 in this case. Now you could pick minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, 1, and 2. You could do all of them, but it's a bit of an overkill. Really you only need 2 points. As I say, I'm doing 3 here. So let's do it anyway. So we're going to put minus 4 into our function and see what we get out as our y value. So in order to do that, then I've got 4, got to multiply my x value, which is minus 4, and then I'm going to subtract 5. So 4 times minus 4, minus 16, minus 16 minus 5, minus 21. So my first point is minus 4, that's my x value, and my y value is minus 21. Now let's do 0. So I'm going to say 4 times 0 minus 5 this time. So 4 0 0, and I'm just left with minus 5. So my second point is 0 minus 5. Third point then, my third x value rather is 2, so I'm going to put 2 into my function. So I'm going to multiply 4 by 2, subtract 5. 2 4s are 8, 8 minus 5, 3. So my x value is 2 and my y value 3. So now I have my 3 points. I have this one here, minus 4 minus 21, this one here, 0 minus 5, and 2 3. So let's plot those 3 points and see what we get. The first one is minus 4 minus 21. Minus 4 minus 21. Let's plot that one. Minus 4 and minus 21 is approximately here. That's my first point. So this is minus 4 minus 21. Minus 4 minus 21. Okay. Now, second point then was 0 5. So 0 minus 5 rather. 0 minus 5 is 0 minus 5 is going to be here. So this one here is 0 minus 5. It's this point here. And the third one then is 2 3. So let's just plot that one. 2 is here, 3 is here. So this one here is 2 3. Now if I join those up, I should end up with a straight line. Now I'm doing this freehand. And just a point here, I've drawn this graph freehand. Obviously when you're doing this, you need to use graph paper and use a ruler, draw straight lines, make sure these distances are all correct. In other words, that distance from 0 to 1 should be exactly the same as this distance here, from 1 to 2 and so on. The distance from here to here is 0 to minus 2 is 2 units, from here to here is 2 units, should be the same distance. Because I've drawn it rough hand or freehand here, it doesn't look exactly right, but when you use graph paper you should be as accurate as possible. And also use the entire page that you're given. Draw as big a graph as you can. If you draw a little graph in the corner of the page, when you're asked subsequent questions, it's not going to be that accurate. So your answers won't be as accurate as they could be. So make the graph as big as possible, and as accurately and as neatly as possible. So let's just join these up. Again, I'm doing this freehand, so forgive me if it doesn't look as straight as it should. Let's see, we're going up along, yeah, okay, up through there and there, okay. It's roughly straight anyway. If I was using a ruler, that would be fine. So that's fine. That's our linear graph. That's our straight line graph, our function g, and it's between x values between -4 and 2. Okay, so that's how you draw a linear graph. Let's have a look at a quadratic graph now. So this is the same kind of thing again, except in this case, look what we've got. We have a function here. This time I've called it f, and we're going to stick x's into our function. And this time we have 2x squared. So we see an x squared here, which indicates that it's going to be a quadratic, plus x minus 2. And this is in the form y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So it's a quadratic graph. And we're going to plot this graph, we're going to draw this graph between, we're going to use the x values between -2 and +2. And all our x values are real. So we're going to join up the dots, the points when we draw them. Okay, so let's start then. Our first point is -2. Our first x value rather is -2. So let's put that into our function. So let's see, we've got 2 here, and then we've got to put a -2 in. We're going to square it. Then we're going to put our -2 in here, and we've got a -2 at the end. So this is 2x squared plus x minus 2. So what will we get? Well, let me see. -2 squared is 4. Plus 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus minus is minus. 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 minus 2, 4. So in this case, our x value was -2 and our y value is 4. So that's our first point. Let's put in -1 now. So we're going to do 2. We're going to put in a -1. We're going to square it. Plus x, so it's plus -1 minus 2. So let's try that then. Well, -1 squared is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. -1 is 1. 1 minus 2 minus 1. So this point is going to be -1 minus 1. X value -1, y value -1. So now we have 2 points. Let's put 0 in. 0 is usually an easier one to do. So it's going to be 0 squared plus 0 minus 2. So in this case, here we're just going to get 0, here we're going to get 0, and we're just left with -2. So we put in 0 and we got -2 out the other end. Let's put 1 in then. Okay, so we've got 2 times 1 squared plus 1 minus 2. 1 squared is 1, 1 times 2 is 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 minus 2, 3 minus 2 is just 1. So we put in a 1 and we got a 1 out. Okay, so let's do the last one then. 2. So we're going to put our 2 in instead of x. So it's 2 times 2 squared plus 2 minus 2. So 2 squared is 4. 2 fours are 8 plus 2, 10. 10 minus 2, 6. So we put in 2 and we got 6 out. So in this case, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points to plot. Now, when you're plotting quadratic functions, when you're drawing quadratic functions, you have to do as many points as you can, really, because it's not a straight line. So let's just plot these points and see what happens. The first one is -2, 4, -2, 4. So let's plot that point. Here's -2, and here is 4 up here. So our first point is going to be there. So this one is -2, 4. Okay, so the second one was -1, -1. So let's plot that one. -1, -1. I'll just rub this out so I can plot the point. Draw it a little bit smaller. That's -1 there. So it's -1, -1 is going to be somewhere here. Okay, so next one is 0 minus 2. 0 minus 2, 0 on the x-axis and minus 2 on the y-axis, so we'll put our point here. The next one then is 1, 1. So we're going to go out the x-axis 1 and we're going to go up the y-axis 1. So there's our point there. And the last one is 2, 6. So we're going to go out the x-axis 2 and we're going to go up here to 6. So this here is 2, 6. This here was 1, 1. You don't have to put these coordinates in next to the point, but I'll put them in for the moment. So this is 0, minus 2, and this one here is minus 1, minus 1. So we have all our points. Now all we've got to do is join them up, and this is the tricky bit. So let's see. Just make sure the curve is a curve, that you don't make any kind of sharp edges, particularly down here at the minimum point. It shouldn't go straight down and straight up with a vertex down here at the end, at the bottom. It should, you shouldn't do something like this. It should be kind of a curve like this, or if it's upside down, it should be like this. Don't go up and down like that. Sorry, that's just moved a bit on me. So let's just, it shouldn't go straight up and straight down. Okay, so let's join these up anyway and see what happens. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to go down to this one here, down to this one here, come around, and then up again. Whoops. Up again here. There we go. Okay, so not exactly on each point, but do it as neatly as you can, and make sure you hit each point, and make sure you don't do any of these kind of V shapes or upside down V shapes. So it should be a smooth curve. Okay, so that's how you draw. This is our quadratic curve. Now you'll notice that our quadratic function here was 2x squared plus x minus 2. In other words, the coefficient, or the number in front of the x squared, is a 2. It's a plus 2. And because it's a plus 2, whatever number is in front of the x squared, the coefficient of x squared, if it's positive, the graph will look like this. In other words, it'll be a U shape like that. If, for example, it was a minus 2x squared, and so on, the graph will look like this. It'll be upside down. Okay, so that's really it for drawing linear and quadratic functions.